This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone today. Not enough sunshine and spring weather for me yet, but hopefully it's coming soon. Soon. Okay, so I'd like to call the meeting to order. We do have quorum, as Holly indicated. And as everyone had a chance to look at the agenda, is there anything they'd like to add? No? Okay. So I move that the agenda as distributed be accepted for today. Everybody in favor? Good. Okay. All right, so that's done.
Ellie, sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. Could you just tell me the mover and seconder for that motion?
Okay, I think Catherine, I moved and Catherine seconded. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
You're
sorry.
No problem. No, you help me out because I get lost in these details. And then number 4 on the agenda is the declaration.
I would suggest to call in. They're just getting to your portion now, so if you could just call in. That's okay. Yeah, if you could just call in, that would be best. They are just getting to the sorry.
She didn't really, go ahead, Ellie. She didn't realize she had her voice on there.
Oh, okay, all right. Number 4 is a declaration of pecuniary interest. And I have none. So no one has any pecuniary interest in any of the items on today's agenda. Okay. So could I ask Jeff, has Jeff been invited? Because this isn't a seniors fair meeting. This is a seniors advisory committee meeting. So
I'm
Jeff,
thinking, Ellie, I'm thinking that the invite carried over from the last meeting that we did, so it may just be on his calendar still.
oh, I see. Okay, doesn't mean that he's there. Okay. So is Dave going to join us for his presentation, or is he not available yet?
Yes, he's calling in right now. Sorry, just some technical difficulties.
Ellie, yeah, just for Jeff, I was talking to him yesterday, and he was saying that he's basically replacing Tanya as a representative from Southeast Grey Community Health Center at our meetings.
Right. Okay, but he's not on the SAC committee though. So he is.
Well, I
wasn't part of the meeting today.
Well, I wasn't sure if Tanya was considered an ongoing member or not.
No, she is not.
I would suggest that Tanya in the past has kind of been a staff support person because she's been providing different advice to us. So if Jeff's filling that role, it wouldn't be bad to have him at meetings like this for sure.
Okay. So
hello,
go ahead.
This is Dave Wen, who's joining by phone. Unfortunately, I had trouble getting online with coming into this particular meeting, so I apologize for that, but I'm still prepared to provide my presentation by phone as long as Holly can tee me up with a visual on screen.
So can you provide a visual for Dave, Holly?
I can, yeah. We just need a vote to put it on the table, so a mover and seconder for the presentation.
Okay. So Catherine moves and seconder Muriel?
Sure, Mary will do it.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, Mary was offering. Okay. Thank you, Mary. Okay, go ahead then, Dave.
So to whom am I speaking immediately?
Well,
is that Ellie?
You're speaking to the Southgate Seniors Advisory Committee. And
okay.
online we have Mary Leach, Mr. Dave Milner, Muriel Scott, a member, Catherine Falls, a member, and myself, a member, and representing the township is Holly. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, Holly. And Lacey Russell, who's going to be presenting next, and she's from the Southgate Library. So, and she has a really interesting program for seniors, and I'm really anxious to hear more about it and help promote it.
Okay. So is this Ellie I'm speaking to?
Yes, I'm Ellie. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ellie. You. I really apologize for not being visual here, but I somehow could not get onto the site. So I'm hoping that this will still work. And if you'd like me to proceed, I can do so.
Okay, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. So first of all, Ellie, it's nice to hear your voice again. The last time we met was back in March of 2021. If you remember that was in Erskine. I'm sure you probably do.
Yes.
I'm not sure. Is Barbara Rowe on the call today?
I believe no, she isn't. No.
Okay, because I also did meet Barbara as well.
That's right.
And I just want to thank Holly in advance for sort of trying to take care of me here with the documents. So I do appreciate the opportunity to have a chance to meet and chat with the Senior Advisory Board. Unfortunately, it's not visual, but I can still certainly give you my support and understanding of the Seniors Ask program. Does everyone have a copy of the brochure and that one-page document that was sent out?
I believe we do. It was sent out as part of the agenda for today's meeting.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And so just before we move on, I would just let me take an opportunity to introduce myself. I live in Southampton, and I have a human resource and operations management background throughout corporate Canada. My wife Carolyn and I have retired into Southampton in 2008 out of the Georgetown area, and we've become very involved and active in some volunteer things within our own community. I'm a past president of Probus here locally. I was a chairperson on the Marine Heritage Society board. I'm also a member of the board of directors for the community living out of Owen Sound, as well as a Rotarian. And I do represent Saugeen Shores on the Council on Aging, and I believe Muriel Scott is on the call as well, so I've heard her voice on a number of occasions. And most recently, I was on a contract basis, I was providing support as a peer support leader in association with the Active Living out of Owen Sound. And I was there under a support of a New Horizons Seniors Grant, which was just completed as of the end of February. And so you just need to know that throughout my life, I've really tried to help people. That's really been my focus. And one of the reasons that drew me to this potential process around Seniors Ask was really to help people get some answers to some questions in the community, as well as coming out of COVID, particularly to help people get some purpose and structure and a sense of belonging within their community. So that's really what drew me to this particular process. And so if I could, Holly, I'd ask you to pull that one page up that is identified as Seniors Ask, and just let me know that you've been able to do that, please.
It's on the screen.
Good, thank you very much. So in addition to the brochure that would have accompanied this invitation, this is just a quick recap, and I know that I have a brief period of time to present this process. But I really wanted people to recognize that the whole intention of the Seniors Ask program was set up to try and provide a free telephone call-in system and support system for caregivers and seniors within the Grey Bruce community. And one of the things that we've been able to do was to set the structure up and the process that was allowed us to be able to be successful in this particular area. And it was done in phase 1, which was completed in 2019. The great misfortune was COVID came along and caused us to be able to put some brakes on because we just couldn't function in an appropriate way. And so what we ended up doing was trying to create what the infrastructure would look like to be able to make that successful through that COVID process, as well as make it available to any seniors within the community. You'll also notice that what we tried to do was to make it seniors friendly and seniors focused. And as I'm a senior as well, the whole intention was to create an environment where there was seniors helping seniors. We worked in conjunction with the Active Lifestyle Center out of Owen Sound, and with the support of that New Horizons grant, we were able to then reach out into the community and try and get some collaborative relationships with various organizations, not the least of which was the Community Connections, which some of you may be familiar with out of Collingwood. And Community Connections is a subsection of 211, which is an Ontario initiative. And I had the opportunity to interact with one of the project managers there, Sherry Teeter, and we were able to get some collaboration going on. Our intention with this whole program was not to compete with anyone, but rather to be an assist in a fashion that may be working cooperatively and collaboratively. And that was what we were able to do with the community connections piece. We worked with the Council on Aging in some of those support pieces and a number of different service clubs throughout the whole of the Grey Bruce area. So a lot of this was a function of some research that had been done through the 2019 period before COVID hit. And as a result of that, we were able to determine what would be the best resources that we could access to be able to be of assistance to any seniors that might be looking to be able to get answers to any questions. And a lot of those questions were related to income tax preparation, housing, transportation, and these became issues that were consistent and common throughout all of Grey Bruce. And so what we tried to do to cope through COVID was to try and interact with the seniors centers that were located throughout the area. And you'll note that in the notes that are up in front of you, that part of our mandate was to try and interact with a number of different senior centers throughout the Grey Bruce area and try and have them become sources of calls that might come in specifically about looking for information around some of those things that I've already mentioned. We were quite successful in being able to create relationships with a number of senior centers, not the least of which was Owen Sound, Markdale, and Dundalk, and you all would be very familiar with that. That's the area where Tanya works out of. Tobermory was another place where we were able to get some interaction, as well as Southampton, and most recently out of Wyerton as well. So we were successful in finding 5 different senior centers that were prepared to support the campaign of Seniors Ask in a way that if there was phone calls that came in, that they would be more equipped to be able to answer those. But probably the most successful part of our process was that in Southampton, where I happen to live, we were able to interact with the Chantry Center. Some of you may be familiar with that. And we actually have a space set up there where we have 4 different volunteers that go in on a regular basis and are actually there to field calls that may come in. So we've assigned a laptop specifically, a telephone number that people can call into, and you'll see that if you do have a copy of the brochure, which I'll allude to in a moment. But what we were able to do was to create an environment where 4 seniors, all volunteers, were able to field calls that might come in from the public in general around Grey Bruce. So in addition to being able to have support at each of those different physical locations where there's senior centers, we identified this main source number of 519-374-9495, you will see on the brochure, where those calls were actually allowed to come in on a 24/7 basis, and as needed, they could go to a recording and a voicemail could be left. And each of the 4 volunteers, of which I am one, we would go in on a Tuesday and or a Thursday between the hours of noon and 4 p.m. And we would answer specific calls that came in during that time, or calls or emails that may have come in during the off time of that. We've been quite successful in that area. We had an official launch on October 1st of last year, where we invited the mayors of both Owen Sound in a location at the Active Lifestyle Center in Owen Sound, as well as also the mayor and some councillors into Southampton at the Chantry Center. And it was a very successful gathering. People became aware of what our services were all about and very positively endorsed it. And we had some radio and print advertising that was in support of that as well. So throughout that period of time between October 1st and even this now period, we have probably received in excess of 100, 150 or so phone calls that we've responded to, and they've been there supporting information around, as we expected, income tax preparation, housing, transportation, and various caregivers have called in as well, and that's the same thing that we're trying to support, that is in conjunction with the seniors. So we're looking for endorsement from wherever we can get it, and certainly we felt that there was some support that may be available through your group. My intention is to get some hard copy brochures sent off, and I'll probably send them off LA to you directly, and perhaps you can have them available to be distributed within your community, and we would welcome you to be reaching out and talking about this particular program. As I said, it's in cooperation, it's not in competition with any others that are going on within the whole Grey Bruce area. Our whole intention was to be able to provide more support to seniors and be helpful for them to perhaps reach out into some of the senior centers to be part of that. And so we would just finish off. I would finish off by saying that our number there, 519-374-9495, is available to anybody. It doesn't have to be seniors, but that's our primary focus. But caregivers also need support as well. So if you can please just have people reach back to us. We would certainly field any questions, and if we're not able to give an immediate response, then we would reach out back to people. As long as they were prepared to leave us a number, then we can get some resolution to it. So we believe that we can make a difference, and all it is that we're just asking for people to call in, particularly during that period of Tuesdays and Thursdays between 12 and 4 p.m. I'm a strong believer if you can give people purpose and some structure and a sense of belonging within their communities, then we can help people come out of this challenge of COVID, and we hope to be part of that. And we would ask you to help us and assist in that way. And I do apologize that I wasn't able to be on there visually. so you could see what I looked like and I could see everybody else. But I do want you to know that we feel that this is an ongoing program that can be supportive. Beyond the grant was over as of the end of February, but we have the good fortune of having our volunteers who are still prepared to continue on and field the questions that may come in. So I'm going to, Ellie, just feed it back to you and open it up to any questions that people may have. I would invite you to certainly consider that the brochure is something that I will send off to you, and perhaps you can send it around within your community. So is there any questions by chance?
Okay. As I'm listening to you, Dave, I'm hearing how much work it has been to set this whole thing up. It's not easy, and the geographical area that you serve is quite large also. So it certainly promotes challenges. So congratulations on the successful launch of this. I'm wondering, Catherine, if you had some questions for Dave. We're planning to develop a brochure for our Southgate seniors, and we're wanting to put some numbers, telephone numbers, contact numbers, so people can get help. And Catherine, did you have some questions for Dave? Do you think that this particular number would be appropriate for our brochure?
Yeah, I was thinking of asking him if that main number would be okay to put on our brochure.
Catherine, absolutely. I think that's the whole intention. I've had the opportunity to go out and do presentations to a number of different groups, provosts, some different sorority groups, some different church groups, and in all cases, what I've done is to say that use this number in any way that you feel would be appropriate. And so I would welcome you to identify it. And all I would just ask is if you're able to, in some fashion, just capture the first statement of that, what's up on the visual, which talks about the free telephone service with the phone number. So by all means, if you feel you have an opportunity to send it in any form, then by all means do it.
Okay,
So,
thank you very much.
Okay. Do you have some physical brochures that you could send to us? We have a number of seniors groups in our township, in our area, and I'm sure I certainly be willing to hand some out at the local church, or our Cowtown lunch, which is going to start, and Young at Heart, and there's another group, Dave, that meets Swinton Park. I forget the name of the group. You know, we could put some brochures there.
Hillside Academy Seniors.
Oh yeah, Hillside. That's it. Yeah. Dave,
Actually,
color, or would you prefer Dave to send the colored brochures, the physical ones, to us, and then we can look after distributing them?
so I have as many brochures as you would like. And so I just need to have a contact point where I can send them out and then have you do a redistribution from there.
Perfect.
So where would
send them to the township office, and send at least 100 to 150, and we'll make sure they get around. Muriel has a question. Go ahead, Muriel.
Actually, I have a comment and then a question, but I'm just thinking that Ellie, did you talk to Dave about the fair and possibly having a table there?
Oh, not yet, but you can count on the fact that I won't overlook him.
Okay, because I'm just thinking that we would want, if you're able to come then, that having brochures available there would be really great too.
Right.
And so when is that fair, Ellie or Muriel? When is that?
It's now September 21, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, Ellie, you and I did have a brief conversation about that earlier on, and I'm more than prepared for us to have to be able to support that. So September 21st, that's a ways off. Let's enjoy the summer first, but I'd be certainly prepared to be supportive in that. As far as the brochures, I can get 150 or 200 if you want that can be sent off to the township offices. Now, I don't have an address, but I'm sure I can get that from Holly if I needed to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I think I do. I think it right here. 18566 Grace County Road 9, Dundalk. Is that it, Holly?
You're correct.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
NOC 1BO.
Okay. Yep, that's it. That's perfect.
Good. Good.
And
Okay.
my question, Dave, was going to be, this is Muriel,
Yep.
was just going to be if you can comment on maybe the top 3 reasons why people are calling Seniors Ask.
Good
What their needs
question.
are.
Okay, I can try and give a perspective on that. So I can say almost number 1 is people inquiring about income tax support, and I know that Alex Ruff provides some support out of Owen Sound, and has in the past on a free basis for seniors. Seniors are having trouble with doing their income tax, so that's certainly one of them. I've had calls from caregivers inquiring about income tax pieces as well, as far away as Mississauga, because they weren't able to get up here during COVID. One of the second main calls was about lawn care and snow shoveling, believe it or not. Because
they're important.
yes, they are, absolutely, because, you know, all of us, we're all seniors, and well, maybe not everybody. I know Holly's not, but we want to avoid falls, and if there's a need to be able to get some support. So we've helped people on that particular side. We've had inquiries about transportation within the community, primarily more around Owen Sound than anywhere else. So those are the kind of calls, if that answers your question, Muriel.
Yep, that's fine. Thank you.
And so also about housing too. I know housing is a main big issue for all of us in our communities right now. So we've had some calls on housing as well. We just do our best to try and respond if we have the answers, or at least send them off to an agency that would be appropriate. And as I said, the community connections, that derivative of 211 is really appropriate, because it sort of focuses more around Grey Bruce. So that's been very helpful to us.
Great.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Anyone else have any questions, other questions for Dave? Okay. Well, that's great, Dave. It's super to hear that the program is continuing and that people are working really hard at it. And we're certainly happy to support you. We will have our enrollment form for the Seniors Fair ready in a day or 2. And I'll certainly send one out, and you can sign up as an exhibitor. No problem there.
Okay, I'll look forward to receiving that email, and much appreciated with helping. We're all seniors, and we all need to be helping each other and being able to help any of those who are more isolated. So we're feeling good about this program and wanted to make sure it still endures.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time today.
Okay, I'm sorry I wasn't there visually, but I hope we're still able to get the information out.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you again.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye to all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Okay. It's interesting to see all the activities going on in our community, and all the tons of work that people are putting in. That's the hard part. Boy, oh boy. Okay, so something more local is Lacey, and I know, Lacey, you've talked to us about your program, and then COVID hit, and then I heard that it's ongoing again. So tell us how we can access this program, and how it's coming along and what you're doing.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt quickly, Ellie. We just need a vote for the adoption of minutes first. Sorry.
Oh, did we miss that? Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
of the minutes from last meeting. Is that,
Yeah, that's correct. So the resolution is be it resolved that the committee approve the minutes from the February 10th, 2022 Senior Advisory Committee meeting as presented.
anybody? Sorry. Oh. I, Holly, can you help me again? I'm not hearing anybody.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, okay. So what is it?
Yep, so
we
it's
need?
so it's just a resolution to approve the minutes from the February 10th Senior Advisory Committee meeting.
Oh, did I
Just a
miss
mover
that?
and seconder.
Okay, so would someone like to move that? Catherine's going to move. And Muriel, you'll second? Okay, thank you. You all set? Okay, Lacey, you got the floor.
Hi, everybody. You guys can hear me okay, right?
Yes, it's good.
All right. So thank you for having me today. I'm here to talk about sort of two initiatives that one is underway and one is still in the planning process. So I'll start with our Homebound Service. As Ellie had mentioned, we talked about this right before COVID hit, and we were planning on launching it, and then things were so iffy over the last couple of years, it kind of got put to the wayside. But we have recently launched it. And what this service is for individuals. So it's based on whether you like your age, injury, disability, and you need library books brought to you instead of you having to come in for whatever reason that's stopping you from coming into the library. What it is up to 10 items. So that can be 10 books. You can do DVDs, magazines, large print, books on CD, for any of the items that are in our collection. And staff would pick it out for you, obviously in consultation of what your interests are. And right now we have it set that staff would be delivering, but we're hoping in the future that we will bring that out into a volunteer-based, and the volunteers would be delivering those items for us. And there's two different types of options. So like I mentioned, they can be delivered by a volunteer or staff member. Or if you have a family member or her friend who's willing to pick them up for you, that's another option. We can still pull all those items and then they can come pick them up and deliver them. And it can also be a permanent service, or you can do it temporarily. So you've had an injury, you broke a leg and all of a sudden you can't get out and driving, then we can do it for a short period of time. We could do it over the winter months if that's just, somebody's not comfortable going out, like was mentioned about falling on the ice. So that's always an option as well. And how it would work was you would either call the library and we would fill out a survey for you, or there's actually a link on our website under library services where you could fill out your form yourself, depending on people's preferences. We are still kind of in the process of really advertising it, so we haven't had anybody sign up yet. You guys were kind of one of my first stops for getting the word spread out. And I'm hoping to get invited to some of those lunches, like Cowtown Lunch, Young at Heart, and talk about the different services. We are hoping we'll be able to do this in all of Southgate. So even, up in Holstein area, even though they tend to use the Mount Forest Library, I know for a fact that Mount Forest won't do a homebound service to that area, so we would be willing to do that ourselves. So that's the first program. Before I kind of talk about the next one, I just want to see if you guys have any questions about that or any comments about it.
Okay. So what we would need to do is phone up the library and
Yep.
ask about signing up.
Yeah, you can phone us. We figured that's the easiest way, but there is an online option as well if that's what people prefer, or come into the library. And we'll have a series of questions. So we'll be asking for your name, your address. We'll ask for an emergency contact in case, this is also kind of a safety component. If we couldn't get a hold of you for a couple of days, we have somebody else we can call to check up on your well-being. And then there's also options to tell us sort of what you're looking for. So what are your reading interests? What are your favorite authors? what kind of items are you looking for, large print, regular print? So we would ask all those questions, and then we can have that on file for when we're selecting materials for you.
Right. Sounds wonderful, really does. I mean, these things take a while to get off the ground, you know, and then all of a sudden they become really busy. So,
Yeah.
well, we're happy to help you do that. And we're hoping that you'll take a booth at our seniors fair, and Meryl's shaking like great, you know, to make sure folks know about it. So that's really great.
It's already on my calendar, Ellie, so.
Oh, good. Now the date has changed though, from to it's 21st of September now,
Okay. I'll
rather
write
than
that
the
down.
28th. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in our community, and we had to change the date. Okay, so tell us about, does anyone else have questions for Lacey before we go on to the next project she's working on? Okay, so go ahead then, Lacey.
So the other one, I think we've talked about this in the past too, and I know Muriel and I have talked about it, is tech training for seniors. This was sort of a need that we found before
Important.
COVID, and now COVID, I think, has made that even more prominent, that everybody sort of needs a bit of those basic computer skills. And what we're working on right now, well, the first step is we're actually hiring a library assistant and digital services person. So we're in that process right now, and we should have somebody starting hopefully by the end of the month. And their role is going to be helping us with all the technology related stuff in the library, including training our patrons. And one of the first projects I want them to start working on is a tech training course for seniors specifically. So we'll be doing things like basic computers, how to use Facebook, how to send an email, how to do online banking. So different topics, and we're obviously open up to suggestions if anybody has any. You guys, I think, have my email. If not, Muriel and Catherine will have my email if you have any suggestions for me. We're looking at the seniors grant, but the problem with the seniors grant right now is it's due at the end of the month, and we're not going to have this position started until the end of the month. So I'm not sure we're going to get the application done in time. But if not, we'll be looking for some future funding to even start looking at having technology that's more accessible. So, you know, large print technology and hearing impaired and different things like that, so people can still use these services, but it helps them with their abilities that they have. So that's kind of one of the other things we're looking at. And even before that time, it's going to take us a little while before we get this one launched. If anybody's ever looking for some one-on-one training, how to download ebooks, how to use your tablet, how to use your computer, this position will be the person to contact in the next coming weeks for that kind of one-on-one training. So even though we're not launching that seniors program specifically, there's still going to be some other options available for people who are needing that training. I know it's important now that people are able to, you know, Zoom and FaceTime with their grandchildren and their children because everybody's separated right now, and you know, COVID numbers are going up again. So we want to make sure that people have those skills that they need to be able to reach their loved ones.
Oh, that's excellent. That really is, because so much more is moving to online and technology, and you need to be, and I'm not totally comfortable with it, of course, but there's a lot of things, a lot of gaps in my knowledge. There's a real long learning curve. So to know that there might be somebody there that can help me with this PDF software that's everywhere that I can't figure out, that I have problems with, it would be wonderful. Yeah, yeah.
And that's a major one. It's the PDFs. That's a major one that we get a lot of questions for. Is government documents are all done by PDF now, and you have the updated technology. So that's definitely something, you know, if you're having trouble, come in the library. Any of the staff members can help you with that.
I tried to log on and it said I didn't have the latest version, and then they want you to buy it, and it goes on, you know, and it's pretty frustrating. So that's great. Any idea if there's an opportunity for funding to provide computers or tablets or anything like that, any programs around? It might be something we want to think about in our back pocket, right? I know
there's an opportunity to potentially Some libraries will loan out technology, so that's a computer or a tablet. So there's definitely an opportunity for that down the road that we can look into, so that people have that stuff that they can bring home, or there's planning a call with a family member, but they don't have that access. And some libraries are also, we haven't done it yet, are loaning out what they call the Wi-Fi hotspots. So anybody who doesn't have internet access at home will be able to check out these Wi-Fi hotspots to bring home for a short period of time.
Oh, is it
We don't have that yet, but it's definitely something we can talk about in the future.
is it a plug-in, like a memory stick? Is
It'll
it
be
real?
something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Wow. We've got a lobby for that, because I think internet's very expensive for a lot of families. And if there's a way to support that. Good. Okay. Any questions for Lacey? Of course, you know Catherine and Muriel. They're on
Yes,
board.
I do.
Yeah. That's great. Jeff, did you have anything? Would the Great Highlands be part of the area that the Dundalk Library serves, or is it just Southgate?
It's Southgate and Melanchthon, but we do sort of have a reciprocal agreement with Grey Highlands, where people from Grey Highlands can use the Southgate Public Library, and Southgate residents can use the Flasherton and Markdale libraries.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's the same here in Holstein. We go to Mount Forest.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay, well, if we have no more questions, I appreciate, Lacey, you taking the time. And I'll be sending out that enrollment for you, so we can save a table booth space for you at our fair, and we'll spread the word. That's exciting. Those are initiatives. They're all a lot of work to get off the ground, I know. So thank you again.
It does take a bit of time. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Please invite me back again sometime. I'd like to update you guys in a few months about what's going on. So thank you for having me. You guys have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you. So Holly, do we need to do anything right now? No? Okay, so you've got it. Oh yeah, and I see number 6, adoption of the minutes. Okay, so we just did that, didn't we? Okay, so minutes, there we go, yeah. Oh, I see, that was before the presentation by Lacey. Now I get it, okay. Good, okay. New business. So we added this item to our agenda about long-term care versus home care, because there's just so much talk about what the seniors really want. And Muriel particularly brought it up, and I was on a call, a meeting recently about the campus of care that's being built in Southampton, I think it is. Is it Southampton? Blue Mountains, sorry. And a lot of the callers were saying, we don't want a 6-story apartment. We want to stay in our homes. And it sounds really good, but they're difficult. They're difficult issues. So Muriel, do you want to take the lead on this discussion?
Okay. I'll just clarify that I have 2 purposes with this discussion. I think one of them is that, as some of you will know, Jerry McNulty, and he had got a call from his former executive director at Southeast Grey Community Support Services a while back, and his name is Maurice Lazine, I think. Anyways, I've never met Maurice, but Maurice is heading up he was looking for people to consult with on a local basis, because he is a member of a provincial group that's looking at long-term care and hopefully trying to present some options to government. Because I think if you've been watching the press at all, you'll see that long-term care beds are being funded, or renovations are and upgrades are being funded at this point, with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new beds and refurbished settings, perhaps, because some of the places that we have, like Rockwood Terrace actually is one of them, don't meet the new standards that are in place for long-term care. But anyways, we've also heard all the horror stories from COVID times with long-term care and everything. So there's a whole mix of issues there. So, but what they're looking at is, what is it that people want and what they think should be possible, and how to get that. I'm assuming it's going to be a bit of a political issue for different seniors groups with the election coming up. In any case, that's not what I'm all about. I'm not political. So there was that committee and looking for local input, like from Southgate, from Grey Highlands, wherever. But our group has received some information about potential options. And I'm going to say that a lot of the options are borrowed from developmental services. It's been really interesting to see this because my background is developmental services. And there's a lot of common themes that are emerging in seniors and aging interests that developmental services has either dealt with or been dealing with for years and years. But it's like getting rid of institutions. There are no institutions for people with developmental disabilities anymore. Like the Huronia Regional Center that was in Aurelio, or the one that was at Palmerston for children, like those are gone. Southwestern Regional Center, which is in Woodstock, and then there were several others. They've been closed over the years, and have actually at this point have been closed for many years. And yet we're building institutions for seniors. It doesn't really make a lot of sense in a way. However, what I'm interested in today is getting our members' comments on what you think we should be perhaps looking at for our local community in terms of options, not getting rid of long-term care totally, because I think most people would agree that we need some settings like that can offer nursing support to people who really can't manage that in their own homes, or the current caregivers can't manage it in their own homes. So that's still probably an option, but what else is there for people? If they can make a choice, what choices are there to make or to opt for? The other purpose I have is to perhaps we could put something together for our fair so that we can have different residential options for seniors presented, the pros and cons, or who they're best suited for, or whatever. And I mean, right now we know we've got a seniors apartment building in Dundalk about to open, like in the next couple of months. So that is one option. And I'm thinking, if we were to put a panel together, like Flatto or someone from that could represent that kind of seniors apartment lifestyle. The new campus of care that they're developing for Rockwood Terrace would be another one. Maybe Abbeyfield, because that certainly offers a whole other kind of living situation. And then, what else do we need to actually have people stay in their own homes, or if not in their own homes, in their own communities? So
Better access
whatever
to home
people
care.
have to think and say.
You need better access to home care.
Better access, Mary, is that what you said?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then home care has to be accountable. The biggest problem with home care is, everybody's aging and the home care workers don't show up.
Did you see that program on CBC?
I lived that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awful to hear, actually, but
But
okay.
it's so true. The home care people they don't have to account to anybody. But the problem is, if you've got your husband at home and you're both in your 80s and someone doesn't show up, what do? That's how a lot of people end up in the nursing home.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Dave.
So that's the first level of care, and it's the cheapest level of care is home care. And Mary is exactly correct. It is broken. It's not serving well. It may be serving better in other parts of the communities around, but we are serviced by 4 different, and I'm just sharing this with you because this is what Al Madden has shared with me, is that we are serviced by 4 areas, Southwest, Waterloo, Brampton, and I believe Nottawasaga. So we're kind of at the outskirts of all those areas. So we're difficult to service. But I think what's happening is these new health teams, once they get set up, that will be part of their responsibility. And an organization like Southeast Grey will manage home care so that it's an extension of doctor services. So like the doctor would recommend home care, and that would go through the administrative parts of Southeast Grey as our service area, and that home care would get initiated from there rather than another entity. But that's a transition that has to happen. Home care workers are not well paid, and there's not enough training for them. And Southeast Grey are working on that as well and advising the province on those kind of issues in relation to, getting Georgian College to create programs, or Southeast Grey or somebody creating programs to train home care workers on how to do that job well, and make them good paying jobs. But it's not a good situation right now for sure. But that's the cheapest and first line of defense. Keep people in their homes where they can feel a sense of pride, greater pride, because it's long-term care is not it needs to be a more of a more drastic option. And if we can keep people in their homes longer, but I mean, I'm not a professional in that area. I'm just repeating what I've been told is supposedly the model that will be rolled out when health teams get established, but they're still feeling themselves out too.
You have any information on that, Jeff, to share with us?
No, I don't. I'll just say that that's not around the corner. Like we're not looking at that within the next couple of years.
Wow.
There's a lot of things that when the health teams get rolled out, as Dave mentioned, we're still in the beginning stages of that. When the whole health teams get rolled out, they're looking at different models, they're looking at different ways to do this. But I would cautiously suggest that that's not necessarily written in stone, but I know that stuff's being looked at, and I think ideally that would be the way that it would go. But that's a long, or sorry, I don't want to say long. That's a medium term thing. It's certainly not in the short term.
Mm-hmm. Catherine, you had something? You had a question, Catherine?
Well, yeah, that's one of the impressions that I get, is that home care is not really something that anybody's trying to establish quickly or even looking at it hard. I think everything seems to be going towards, homes for like long care homes for everyone, as opposed to keeping them in their home. Yeah, everybody says, oh, it's better to stay at home, but nobody does anything about it. That's my impression. So I'm, how do we, do something to change that look on, even for funding and stuff like that, to get directed through the medical services to go back to staying at home instead of building new long care buildings. And
There's a challenge. Jeff, you had something?
I was just going to add that the biggest issue with the home care piece right now is they're totally understaffed. They don't have enough staff anywhere to provide the service. So we're hearing, excuse me, hearing and experiencing lots of stories of, again, of people not showing up, services being canceled, different things like that. And I certainly don't want to make excuses for that profession, but they just don't have the people. They don't have the manpower to do it. And I think Dave alluded to this. Part of the biggest reason for that is because they're very poorly paid. There's not a huge incentive when someone can go elsewhere and do similar work and be paid significantly more. There's not a huge incentive, so they have a hard time getting staff and a hard time retaining staff.
And the home care companies, we had a gentleman speak with us a couple of months ago, and they're drastically underfunded. They're having to do fundraisers to keep going for necessary services. So it's a whole area that certainly needs to be addressed. And I think there's a feeling that the direction from the province is elsewhere. It's in building these institutions. And I would say that the institutions are necessary, but they have to have better oversight. They have to have a sense of culture that has respect for the patients. I was going to say residents, and that's not the case. And it's not being checked into as well as it should be. And of course, COVID brought that to light. But how do you change a culture overnight? You know, it has to come from the top, eh? And if they're all for profit, that's going to be difficult to change. So I don't know, it's a dilemma, but I think it's an important topic to discuss, and I appreciate everybody's input.
The home care is for profit too.
What was that, Mary?
The home care agencies are all running for profit too. The big players in home care, there are two American-based companies, and it's for profit.
Yes, right.
ParaMed and Bayshore, or it's Extendicare and Bayshore. They're both American-based, and they're both for-profit home care.
Are those the local ones, Mary, that serve this area?
They're the ones that service all of Ontario, basically. I mean, there's a few smaller ones, but they're the big players, two of them.
Okay.
And they service all over. But when it's, I mean, I work with them. It's for profit. So if someone shows up or doesn't show up, it's immaterial to them. They're paid.
Mm-hmm.
And the big problem is you only get, you have to be, and I mean literally dying to get more than 2 hours home care a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like literally, if you're like really sick, really sick, you don't get it. If you're deemed palliative and at the end of your line, and I mean the end, then you get more than 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right. Would they be companies we'd want to invite to our fair?
You should ask someone else, because I have a very negative opinion. And I mean, I worked for 33 years. I love my job. I loved it. But those, like, not enough work. Like, it's not so much not enough workers. It's even if you have the workers, they don't get enough time in a home.
Yeah.
Who contracts with Bayshore and Extendicare for that service?
If that's the LHIN.
That's okay. And the LHINs are disappearing. So, and that's the Ontario Health Teams then that will be taking over those kinds of service contracts. Is that correct?
But you're probably just shuffling papers into a different desk.
Well, yeah. But, and set up a brand new offices and everything. I went through that.
Exactly. I remember when the LHIN started up.
Yes, I do. I was totally amazed with their lovely offices and furniture.
So was I in my 3 cents after 9 years of working race.
Yeah.
Not easy. I think it's important to raise the issues and keep raising them. And sometimes if you make a bit of noise, things change. May not as quickly as we'd like, but getting in the right direction. Does anyone have anything else to add? We're
Could I
good.
just, what, if we do try and put something together for our September 21st fair,
Right.
I'd be interested in people's thoughts on that and if they have suggestions on who and what.
That sounds good, Muriel. We will do that. Good.
You'll send me
Maybe
them?
be a speaker and we'll put them on the spot. I don't know.
No, I don't want to do that. Like one of the things I
Oh,
was
okay.
thinking, yeah, one of the
Okay.
things that may happen anyways, but I don't want to set that up. But I was thinking that we might do an outline of what we want a speaker to cover within this, and one of the things would be like, who is this program suitable for? Like, who is it most appropriate for, and who is it not appropriate for?
Right. That
Or not
sounds
just
great.
who, but what characteristics or something.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I think that was worthwhile. We'll keep thinking about that. Okay, so on to 8.2, update on the seniors fair. Well, the biggest thing, of course, is the change of date due to a conflict with an event in Owen Sound on the 28th. And Kevin Green graciously agreed to change the date. I know he would have preferred the 28th, but he's accommodated us, and so we've set the date for September 21st. The one exciting note is I contacted St. John Ambulance to, there was a form that you could fill out, and I wanted to have them come to offer first aid services. And hopefully not instead, but they have come back with an offer to bring their therapy dogs with them. And so we have our first valuable exhibitor, and I'm pretty excited about them. We want to make our fair interesting and active, and have people really enjoy it. And so we've got the first one. So anyone else want to add anything for the fair? I believe we've sent off the application to Foundation Grey Bruce for funding, so hopefully we'll know by the end of May whether we're successful there. And our next meeting we'll be getting closer to having to make some hard decisions on some other items. Muriel?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, with that particular grant application, what were we asking for?
Well, what's available to us is $3,000.
Okay.
They do offer more for other programs, but we don't qualify for those. The one we qualify for has an upper limit of 3,000.
And it's 3,000 for the fair costs in general? Or does it have to be something specific?
I don't remember. I know they won't pay for salaries, and they won't pay for overhead, and they won't pay for infrastructure kind of thing. But because we're offering a service to the community, I think there's an interest in our doing that, and I think they'd be interested in supporting that. Did you have something you wanted to add, Dave, about that application?
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. No, I don't think so. I think, you're well on your way.
Right. Okay. And the Ministry of Seniors and Accessibility are promoting the fact that they're helping communities and seniors activities, but when I talked to them, they weren't interested in supporting the food portion, but they were interested possibly in busing or transportation to allow remote and isolated seniors to participate in our fair. So I added that component to the budget. And so the focus of the application for the ministry grant will be on that kind of activity, helping remote seniors stay connected. And I guess as we move into the application, we'll think of other ideas. Did you have any thoughts on that, Jeff? Have you,
No, I don't have any thoughts.
okay, all right. So we're still going to need some more funding. And we'll adapt our expenses according to.
Ellie? Oh, I think she's frozen.
Oh,
Okay.
Level to make sure that they're all funneled to me. Muriel?
Well, we missed what you were saying.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. I mean, we have satellite internet, but you know, it does cut out sometimes. I forget what I was saying now. Something about connecting with Liam Gott at the township, who's our treasurer, who will be receiving the monies from the applicant. We're going to talk to him about how he wants to set that up, and who on staff will look after the applications and make sure they get to me so we can set it up.
Right.
Anything?
Do we have any idea how much money came in from those people that were paying for a table or whatever? Like
Yeah,
at
it
the
was.
last fair?
It was $30 in 2018, and we brought in $300. So it's not certainly not enough to fund very much. It kind of added to some small expenses. So, and I don't think in our area that we could ask $300 per exhibitor. We wouldn't get anybody. So. I know Blue Mountains have a one-day fair, and they were charging $50. So I think the consensus was that we would increase it to $50, and that would be a good amount for our group.
So,
Do you have any
we're
thoughts
talking
on that, Dave? As to what to charge for the booth space?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, go ahead.
Yeah, like, you know, I think 50 is likely a pretty good number. I just forget what the fall fair is charging now, but you know, you're talking local community groups that are trying to do, you know, positive things, and that they don't have big budgets. Like 200 would likely turn people away, or even 100.
Yeah.
Well, this is companies, right? This is not the charitable nonprofits.
Yeah.
Well, you could likely stretch to, if you're going to have, you know, if you can demonstrate attraction. I mean, $100 isn't out of the way for a company, and maybe 50 or 25 for the, you know, not-for-profits, or I think the not-for-profits, we actually give them a free booth, did we not?
Yeah,
Yes, we did, and it
Yes.
was part of the stipulation in the OACAO requirements.
Yes. Right.
Those
right.
aren't out yet, but the OACAO also obliged us to offer free admission and free lunch and free to government. So we'll be applying there. So we're kind of guided by what they have to offer, and it's been a successful program, and I think it's
well, the more things you're going to, the more things you're going to give away is, you know, things you need to sell to your exhibitors, that's they're paying for part of that attraction. So it's all about how many people go by their booth is what they're willing to pay.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. And
you know, you and I were kind of talking earlier about busing and demonstrating that we're going to bus people in from Holstein and the west side. I mean, you know, should we be talking to Great Highlands about maybe them, you know, looking at busing people down to our fair so that their citizens have access to that kind of a, you know, a community event? But that's a whole other discussion.
We will need to be reciprocal.
It's a good plan. I did forget to mention that the CIBC Bank in Dundalk have given us 400 tote bags, and they were picked up yesterday by Muriel and Kathy. Jeff has offered to store them at Erskine for us.
Good.
I understand there's 2 big boxes. I haven't seen them yet. So, I mean, they're not fancy bags. They were given to us free. But I think it's nice to have something to put business cards in and a pen that they pick up at a booth or a brochure or something. It adds to the excitement of the event. So that's already in place.
So we need to make sure we ask the credit union for something, soon as they're the other financial institution in town.
Well, because we have needed so many, even she balked, 400. Ooh, but anyway, she got approval. I said, it's good, good advertising for you. I don't think we should have 2. I think one's enough. We can offer the credit union to maybe, I don't know,
do something else.
maybe a gift basket or something. We need some giveaways. And Barbara Rowe has some baskets, she said. And she's prepared to let us have them, and we can fill them up with goodies, whatever. I don't know. Dave, did you want to add anything?
I think I'll just comment on the credit union. I think you should give them an opportunity. A business like the credit union and the new drugstore, I think I would ask them to be like lunchtime sponsors, because there's nothing like absorbing a lunch and finding out who paid for it. That that's a pretty good promotional tool. But I think those would be 2 great sponsors for that event. And maybe the Home Hardware could be another one. That's a pretty anchor business downtown.
Which one? Sorry, I missed that.
So you've got the drugstore, obviously,
Right.
and the credit union and the Home Hardware. Those are all anchor businesses in Dundalk that, maybe you get the Home Hardware to sponsor a break, and the other 2 could sponsor lunch.
Right. In that amount for the lunch, what I did, we had gotten quotes the last time around, and they were some of the commercial or companies, restaurant chefs were charging $13, $15. Now we got it at $7.50 from the Optimist Club. I've asked them again if they'd be willing to do it, because it's not in Holstein, it'd be in Dundalk. So I don't know if that's practical. So we're seeking out some different quotes to see what would work best. And of course, that restaurant that everybody supports in Dundalk would be ideal. And I think they do a good job too, but it would depend on how much money we could spend. The Junction, yeah.
I'm just thinking, Mary, oh boy, Ellie, maybe we should put something in writing about what we're asking for, so we ask the same thing of all of them. I don't mean it has to be the same menu, because they can come up with suggestions, but just to put the parameters in place of what we want and need.
Right. Yeah, let's do that for the 27th, our meeting at 27th of April. Sounds good. Okay. Any other comments on that? Okay, all right. So I'm done. So the next item is members' privilege. Good news and celebrations. Catherine, good news? No?
I don't have any news here. Thanks.
Mary, do you have some good news for us?
No, I don't have any either.
Okay, well, thank you for participating today. It was important.
Oh, no problem.
Muriel?
I don't know. There's a lot going on, and I think it's all, oh, sorry, my phone's ringing. It's all upwards and good stuff. Yeah, I think Southgate's on the move.
Okay, thank you. And Jeff, did you want to add something?
Maybe I'll just let you know that on Wednesday mornings at the Erskine Center, we have been having a really good turnout, mainly seniors for our chair exercise program and then the community cafe afterwards. So it's been going again for a few weeks and it's been a really good turnout. We also have Thursday yoga in the morning as well too. So there's been some seniors coming out to that. So I'm putting it under the good news part is that as things are opening up, we're starting to get more people in person attending some of the programs that we're running. So that's really good news. We've been excited to get back and excited to see people out. And yeah, the only other thing that I would add too is that we, and just because Muriel's here reminding me, we've been doing income tax, and a large part of the free income tax clinic that we run is for seniors. So it's been successful and we're continuing to do that. And as I say that, I've got someone that's coming in right now, so I'm gonna have to go dark again. So thanks everyone.
Okay, no problem. How long will you be running? Till the end of May or just the end of April?
Well, the clinics themselves, I just have until the end of April, but we do income tax all year round. So if someone misses a date or just aren't able to get it done, we provide this service all year round for people.
Oh boy. Okay, that's super. Yeah, that's really valuable. Okay, thank you, Jeff. Dave, you want to add something?
No, I don't think so. Other than like you mentioned, Ellie, lunch, prices from the Optimists. I reach out to other community groups as well that may be interested. Egg Society, whether the Lioness are still in that business. There's different groups that could do that. So anyway.
I agree. Yeah, the Ag Society, I'd forgotten. See, I'm not in Dundalk, so I'm not so familiar, but the Ag Society would be great, wouldn't they? And they're always looking to raise some funds. The challenge might be is it's a weekday, right? Rather than a weekend, but yeah, Ag Society. Okay. I might ask you for a contact there.
Sure.
Lioness. Yeah, okay. Thank you. All right. Well, I guess we're ready to adjourn. Does someone want to move to adjourn the meeting for today? Catherine. And a seconder? Muriel. There we go. Okay. Well, that was great. Thank you, everyone. And the next meeting is June 9th. Hopefully in person, Dave. But we don't know where, eh?
You're muted, Dave.
You're muted.
Sorry. We could do it at the new boardroom in Hopeville, possibly the council chambers in Holstein. We'll see.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Stay tuned.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Thanks very much then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Ellie.